What's goody world? I'm back with the homie Nick, Fat Electrician. I think I'm just going on a Fat Electrician run. I'm going on a fat ass run today. I'm gonna just do Fat Electrician today, man. So we have arrived. I think this is one of his newer videos. We have arrived at how a chicken farmer and inflatable tanks won World War II. We talking about Agent Garbo and the Ghost Army. I don't know what chicken and tanks got to do with each other, let alone inflatable ones. And then we just gonna throw a farmer in there. They just throw a farmer, a tank that inflates, some chicken, and a war. Let's just put that all together. Wait years, just wait decades for somebody named Nick to discover the story, research it, and tell the world about it. Let's rock. Learn me something, Nick.
Ah, yes, the Spanish chicken farmer that trolled the Germans so hard that at most he is responsible for the Allies winning World War II, and at the very least he is responsible for World War II ending years in advance and saving hundreds of thousands of lives in the process. I cannot stress to you enough, I am not exaggerating. Today we're talking about Agent Garbo, aka Spanish chicken farmer, and a bunch of art majors with inflatable tanks, and how they became—
What a terrible AKA. What a terrible alias. What a horrible ass known as. There's no catch to it. There's no catch to the nickname. It's just telling you his title. It's just telling you his job title.
AKA Spanish chicken farmer and a bunch of art majors with inflatable tanks, and how they became one of the most important, critical, deciding factors of all of World War II. They are quite literally the reason that D-Day worked. Okay, here's the deal. They don't teach you this in school, and you're not going to pick it up by watching Saving Private Ryan, but D-Day, the storming of the beach at Normandy, strategically speaking, on paper, was a horrible plan. Like, literally the worst plan available, okay? When you're trying to move in hundreds of thousands of troops, tanks, trucks, equipment, artillery, you want the biggest beach available. Normandy, not the biggest beach available. More importantly, you want a harbor. You want somewhere for all your ships to be able to drop off all the troops and supplies. Guess what Normandy doesn't have? A harbor. And if that wasn't bad enough, half the beaches are covered in cliffs. Why are cliffs bad? Well, because the enemy is on top of the cliff, meaning the enemy has the high ground, and they're going to be shooting at you while you're trying to be a rock climber. And then, if you make it to the top of the cliff, now your back is up against a cliff and you have nowhere to fall back to. Okay, and I know what you're thinking. Well, that does sound like a bad idea, but because it's a bad idea, the enemy's not going to be expecting it, and you're going to be doing what the enemy isn't expecting, which is going to give you an edge. Most of the time, yes, but in this case, no, absolutely not. Why? Well, because the two most likely places for the Allied forces to launch a major invasion were Calais and Schoenberg. They both had ports, they both had big beaches, they were the perfect locations to launch a massive offensive. And Normandy is right in between the two, meaning that Germany has a ton of soldiers both in Schoenberg and in Calais, and it's not going to take them long to send their troops to Normandy to reinforce it and crush the entire offensive. Okay, if you're not picking up what I'm putting down, I'm trying to tell you that the beaches of Normandy are quite literally the meat and cheese of an ass-whooping sandwich, and the plan should not have worked. And the only reason that it did was because of a chicken farmer and a bunch of theater kids, and we're going to get into it right after word from our sponsor. This video is brought to you by Sundays. It's food for dogs. Isn't that right, Mushu? All right. Okay. Calm down. Anyways, Sundays for Dogs is dog food that's made with a bunch of human ingredients like, actual meat and not, ground up cartilage and pig dicks. The food actually looks different. Like, it actually looks like beef.
I ain't gonna lie, Nick. They kind of made it seem... Am I tripping? But it made it kind of seem like he's saying it's not made of animal, it's made of human. Just listen to it again. Tell me if I'm tripping.
I'm down. Anyways, Sundays for Dogs is dog food that's made with a bunch of human ingredients like, actual meat and not, ground up cartilage and pig dicks. The food actually looks different. Like, it actually looks...
You see what I'm saying? It sounds like the dog's eating humans. But I get what you're saying, Nick. I'm just saying.
Like beef jerky. It doesn't smell like a bunch of dehydrated dog food. It's air dried. It's made here in America. Mushu loves it, and it's pretty much the only thing he'll eat now. It's like all the other fancy dog foods with none of the downsides, right? You don't have to open a can every time you go to feed your dog. You don't have to stick this shit inside your refrigerator. And you can get it as a subscription service, so it just keeps showing up to your house, because at least for me, every time I had dog food on my grocery shopping list, I would always forget, then I had to make a trip just for dog food. So it's nice to have it just show up at the house. So if you want to give Sundays a try, I'm gonna have a link and a discount code down below. Let's get back to the video. All right, our story begins in 1912 in Barcelona, Spain, when Juan Pujol Garcia is born. He grows up as the son of a farmer in the early 1900s. When he turns 18 years old, Spain at this point in time has mandatory military service. He goes off, he serves in the military for 6 months, hates it the entire time. He just wants to go back home and raise chickens. So he finishes up his military service, goes back home, has his own little poultry farm, and he's just living life for a couple of years. And then when he's 24 in 1936, Spain is thrust into civil war.
Oh, my cabbages!
Now, I'm oversimplifying this, but essentially the Spanish Civil War had two factions. You had the Republic, which were fascist, and then you had a socialist revolution, okay? So you've got extreme left-wing ideology and you've got extreme right-wing ideology, both of which are renowned for not getting along with one another. And Juan doesn't care. He hated being in the military. He doesn't want to be involved. He literally just wants to be left alone to raise his chickens and live life. But that's not really how civil wars work. So what ends up happening is the socialists determine that his mother and his sister are not sympathetic to the socialist revolution, and they throw them in prison. Shortly after that, Juan is conscripted to fight in the socialist military, you know.
It was that easy to yo, the world was the wild. Yo, when the world was figuring out the world, like the world rules, because these wars, these humongous wars, hence they're not being plenty of them. It's not. We're not on World War VIII. The fact that it's World War I, World War II, those you could, and just correct me if I'm wrong, y'all. I know prior to these wars, the world was worlding, and then as egos grew and as everything grew, people was like, no, we want to run more parts of the world, and we want to create the rule. So all the rules still weren't figured out. With World War I, World War II, things kind of got figured out. But the world rules were created during these times. That's so crazy to me that because it's not so long ago. It is long ago, but it's not so long ago. And it's just like, damn, like this is how the rules were made. And back then, the rules were just whoever ruled that territory, they got to make the rules. And you just get to arrest somebody because they just don't agree with you. Like, not because they hurt you, they laid hands on you. Y'all just talked and they said, I don't like that. And you said, what? Lock your ass up. That's crazy to me.
Socialists determined that his mother and his sister are not sympathetic to the socialist revolution, and they throw them in prison. Shortly after that, Juan is conscripted to fight in the socialist military, you know, the same people that just arrested his mother and sister, so obviously not a big fan. He refuses to do it.
Believe it or not, jail right away.
From here, he's in jail for a little while, then he ends up getting broken out of jail by a bunch of counter-revolutionaries that help give him a fake ID that says he's old enough to not have to get drafted. From here, Juan is like, perfect, okay, great, I'm gonna go back home, I'm gonna raise my chickens, I'm gonna mind my own business, I'm just gonna live my life the way I want to. He goes back home to his farm, finds out that the socialist revolution has seized his farm for the war effort, and basically tell him to fuck off, it's their farm now, you can't have it back.
Oh, my cabbages!
And as I'm sure you can imagine, if Juan didn't already hate socialism, he sure as shit does now, so he decides that he's gonna go and help the team that's fighting against the socialists. The problem is, he can't really get to the front lines to join that side, so he ends up joining the Socialist Revolutionary Army, volunteering to run communication lines on the front line, and then as soon as he gets close enough to the enemy line, he literally just takes off running, goes to the enemy side, and is like defecting to join their military instead. To which the Republic, the fascist regime that he's trying to join, is more than happy to accept him and let him fight against the socialists. No,
I'm happy I stopped when I heard him say, no, so that means I don't have to say what I was about to say, because I was about to say something. And now I don't have to say it because I believe Nick is now going to tell me, no, I'm just fucking with you.
regime that he's trying to join is more than happy to accept him and let him fight against the socialists. No, I'm just kidding. They don't believe him. They think he's a spy, so they beat the shit out of him, and then they throw him in jail.
I thought Nick was just going to say, no, I'm just playing, that never happened, but he actually did attempt that. My boy said, let me join, and then let me just run to the ops and tell the ops I want to join them. Bro, that's crazy. That's crazy. Because his folks pissed him off.
Kidding. They don't believe him. They think he's a spy, so they beat the shit out of him, and then they throw him in jail. At this point, Juan realizes both of these guys are assholes. He doesn't want to be involved in any of this. He just wants to go home and raise his chickens. From here, the Spanish Civil War ends in April of 1939. A couple of months after that, in September of 1939, World War II kicks off. To which Juan looks at the sides that are fighting. You know, you've got the UK doing their monarchy, democracy type stuff. Then you've got the USSR doing communism, which is just extreme socialism. Not really a fan of that. And then you've got Germany, ran by the Nazis, which quite literally stands for the National Socialist German Workers' Party.
Don't like that.
Okay, nationalist, not necessarily synonymous with fascism, but it is one of the cornerstones, followed by the word socialism and German Workers' Party. Okay, it's literally everything he hates wrapped up in one big ball of white supremacy. So Juan decides, fuck those guys, I'm gonna do everything I can to fight them.
You're gonna pay for this!
So he goes to Madrid to the British embassy and volunteers to be a spy. The British are like, dude, you're a chicken farmer in a neutral country. You provide absolutely no value to us. Kick rocks, we don't want your help. Go away. At this point, Juan realizes that telling the truth isn't working, so he's gonna start lying. He goes, pays off some dude that runs a printing press to make him what appears to be a fake
Why is military history so based off lies? It's so much of it is based off lies. So many amazing stories starts with deception. That's crazy. Not only that, these Decepticons, the deceptive heroes, they actually play a role in why the war was won, why their side won the war. Had they been only truth tellers, they probably would have never entered these wars and never been able to create these stories and these legacies that they've created. It's so many lies. It's so many lies. It's just one big ass lie. And then it turns into amazing truth, but you get what I'm saying.
Pays off some dude that runs a printing press to make him what appears to be a fake diplomatic passport like a politician would have that would grant him access into Great Britain. He then takes his counterfeit politician passport, goes to the German embassy in Madrid and says, hey, I'm a Spanish politician. I just got orders that I'm going to be stationed in London for the next couple of years. I'm sympathetic to the Nazi cause. I want to be a spy for you guys.
Ooh, that's a bingo.
He don't get enough credit. I don't know this actor's name. There's only a few actors, and when I say few, I mean a real few, not even a handful, that can make me, I don't want to use the H word because I don't know if YouTube gonna block the video, but that actually makes me, when I'm watching them pretend, I know they're pretending, but they're pretending so good that I actually develop H for them. Like, bruh, if I see you in person, I'm gonna compliment you on such a great job you did playing this role, and then I'm going to say, but I actually don't like you, so I'm gonna stop talking to you right now. You see what I'm saying? And this is one of them. This man does not, and it's only a few roles he's played as a Nazi general, but boy, that man knows how to make me really, really dislike him in real life. In real life. That's so, I don't know why my mind's doing, but in real life, I don't like him. It's crazy.
I want to be a spy for you guys.
Ooh, that's a bingo.
Oh,
and apparently the counterfeit passport was good enough because the Germans believed him. From here, the Germans give him training on how to secretly communicate with them like a spy would. Basically, he's going to write a normal letter in Spanish like he's mailing it off to a friend, just talking about daily life or whatever random.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm just gonna, y'all know I like to think ahead. I'm just gonna create my plot. This is my plot for what Nick's about to learn me. This man joined the military, the German military, as a spy. The Germans teach him how to spy. He flips the table. He turned the tables, go back to his side, tell him that he's a whatever he gonna lie to them and say, because you know this is all based on lies now. it's all stemmed from some lies. He gonna lie to them and say whatever and say, I know all of this knowledge. I know how the Germans about to move. I know how this goes. And then they finally take him on, and then he kind of helps them. That's what I'm brainstorming. That's what I'm thinking. I could be wrong as hell, but I just figured I'd get that out before because if that is true, you know, I like to think I'm right sometimes.
Bullshit. And then in between the lines of the letter, he's going to use invisible ink. He's going to write a normal letter in Spanish like he's mailing it off to a friend, just talking about daily life or whatever random bullshit. And then in between the lines of the letter, he's going to use invisible ink and ciphers given to him by the German to convey secret intel, and then he's going to mail it to a particular address. From here, the Germans give him a bunch of invisible ink, the address he needs to mail the letters to. They give him 600 pounds to buy whatever spy equipment he needs, and then they give him a list of intel that they're looking for. Presumably, this is like the test to make sure that this guy's legit. If he can go and get this intel that we already know and show that it's accurate, he's going to prove to be a reliable spy. It's a bunch of questions like, what is the makeup of the Strategic Bombing Command of the UK? Where is this factory? What do they produce there? Yada, yada, yada. A bunch of shit they already know. But if he can figure all this out and then give them the correct information and they can verify it's correct, then he can probably go out and find information that they don't have that would actually be valuable to them. Then they give him the code name Alaric and send him on his way, and as far as the Germans are concerned, he is headed off to London. The real problem, Juan can't get to London. He doesn't actually have a diplomatic passport. He has no viable reason for being there, and while the counterfeit passport worked on the Germans, it's not going to work on the British because it's their passport. They're going to know what a counterfeit looks like.
I'm gonna need to see some identification.
Really? Makes me feel young again.
So Juan decides he's going to get as close as he can, which is Lisbon in Portugal. So he heads off to Lisbon, gets a job working at the public library, and then uses his position at the library to get up-to-date newspapers, encyclopedias, military textbooks, and figures out the answers to all of the questions that the Germans had and sends off a letter verifying that he's a reputable spy. And of course, he gets all the answers correct or
apparently you can hide the answers from the Germans in the books. How the Germans didn't know that all he had to do was go read some books, that the history's already written? Nah, my boy thinking sharp. He is pissed about them folks taking his chickens, bro. Taking his chicken farm. Oh, he upset.
Off a letter verifying that he's a reputable spy. And of course, he gets all the answers correct or correct enough, and the Germans believe him, so now he's a reputable spy in the eyes of the Nazis. He then goes a step further and uses up-to-date British newspapers to find rental listings and picks out an apartment for, you know, however much it costs a month and tells the Germans, hey, I'm living here renting this apartment, and the Germans start paying his rent for him even though he's not even living there.
What an idiot! Oh, what a loser! Good.
From here, the Germans want him to build out an entire spy network, basically covering all of England. They want spies outside of military installations to track troop movements. They want spies at all the major ports and harbors tracking shipping movements. They want spies all over England. Problem, Juan isn't even in England. He's still in Portugal.
This sounds like this man has been conning. He's a pro con artist. But this man is actually an amateur. There's no way this is his first rodeo at conning. Because how do you con a military government at your first rodeo? Ain't no way that man wanted to be left alone with them chickens, because he knew if he was out here in this world, he would be conning, catch me if you can, and if y'all know what catch me if you can is, out here raining terror in the con space. Oh man, this is crazy.
Track troop movements. They want spies at all the major ports and harbors tracking shipping movements. They want spies all over England. Problem, Juan isn't even in England. He's still in Portugal working at a library, so he just starts making shit up. He starts writing the Germans, coming up with all these elaborate lies of all the new agents that he's acquired that are completely fictional. He's like, yeah, I've got, Agent Gimbal who lives in Liverpool. He's of Portuguese descent, and he's gonna keep an eye on the harbor for us. I've got Agent Carvel, and he's of German descent. He lives in Wales. He's going to be tracking shipping movements over there. And he just does it and keeps building out this massive fake spy network that doesn't even exist. And then he convinces the Germans all of his spies need to get paid. So he's getting the wages of all of the spies in his network that don't even exist.
And I make nothing. Zero. Zilch. By the time I pay all my scientists and my research department lab coats, it's a wash.
So from here, as far as the Germans are concerned, he's basically worked himself into like mid-level management of this spy network, and he's not actually doing any spying himself. He's just managing the 20 other spies and relaying all the intel. Now, Juan realizes this as well, and he realizes the beauty of it because now he can just start telling the Germans ridiculous shit that he pulls out of his ass, and if he gets called out on it, he can just blame it on the spy below him that doesn't actually exist, right? Like if he comes up with some crazy story to get the Germans to do something stupid, it's not falling back on Agent Alaric, it's falling back on Agent Gimbal or whoever gave him the faulty intel, and then they can fire that guy and he gets to keep his job. From here, he just starts lying. He just feeds the Germans lines of bullshit that's completely made up out of his own head while he's sitting at a public library in Portugal. For example, he's just like, okay, what would the British maybe be up to that would interest the Germans? Like, oh, aircraft carriers are a big deal in World War II. Yeah, the British are designing some super massive mega aircraft carrier and they're testing it on, let me check my encyclopedia at the library, the biggest lake in Britain, Lake Windermere. Yeah, they're testing the new super carrier on Lake Windermere. Sends that off to the Germans, just complete made up bullshit. And it's working. So he's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna throw a Hail Mary. I'm gonna start actually being disruptive to the Germans. I'm gonna start physically impacting the outcome of this war. He tells the Germans that his spy up in Liverpool spotted a massive British naval convoy and they're setting off their...
Y'all, and my trick is this not, we're talking a chicken farmer turned pro con artist within moments. And you're telling me that from a library, he is able to actually physically affect the war with pretend intel that he made. So he's waking up at 7 in the morning, drinking his coffee, eating some toast and butter, perhaps some type of jam spread on said toast. And while he's doing so, he's just reading papers like, that's a good one to come up with. Let me jot that down to feed the Germans at my library job. The war, like I'm a German spy working at the library. And he just got up and did that every day. Amazing. We need new words. I need new words than amazing, spectacular, awesome. I need bigger words, y'all. Let's make up some words. We got to make up our own lingo for these stories because we can't be using our petty language and putting them and applying them to these stories. Because that's a little beyond amazing. That's a little beyond spectacular. We need new words, y'all. Just crazy words. We need them. Jot them in the comment section.
Up in Liverpool, spotted a massive British naval convoy, and they're setting off. They're going to sail along the coastline, go through Gibraltar, and resupply all the Allied troops in Malta, and it's going to be a big deal. So the Germans are freaking out. They're like, holy shit, we're going to go take out this massive convoy with our warships and our submarines, and it's going to be a huge win for the Nazis. Hooray. Obviously, the convoy doesn't actually exist, but the Germans send out a massive naval detachment to go look for it for like weeks, and they never find shit. shit. Now he's having a real effect on the outcome of World War II. He's having thousands of German naval personnel on warships go out, wasting their time, burning through fuel, using up their assets. That naval detachment could be out there attacking somebody else, and he's just wasting their time. He's having a real tangible effect on the outcome of World War II. And while this is going on, unbeknownst to him, British intelligence, MI6, has developed the Ultra machine, which is like a predecessor to the computer. It's a gigantic calculator, and they're using it to break encrypted Nazi radio traffic. And when a massive naval detachment goes out on a convoy, there's going to be some radio traffic about it. And they're intercepting all this radio traffic where the Germans are looking for a massive British supply convoy to go take it out. And the British are like, what the fuck are they talking about? There's no convoy. Why?
What's about to happen, y'all? The anticipation. We only got a few minutes left for this, y'all. Oh, I lied. No, we don't. We ain't even got to have the video. Look, what's about to happen? Are the British like, somebody got to be feeding them this, and then they find him, and then they're like, bro, you're the chicken farmer genius? Is that what's about to happen, y'all?
Why do they think that we have a massive convoy going on? So they think that the Germans have a spy out there somewhere and launch a massive manhunt looking for this German spy. And obviously they're looking for him in London around Liverpool because that's where he would be to have that intel or that mistaken intel or to get that false impression, and they never find him because he's in Lisbon, in Portugal, at a public library.
Come on!
Fucking with the Nazis. A couple of months go by, it's like mid-1942. He's been messing with the Germans for about a year now. So he decides that he's gonna go to the British embassy in Lisbon and tell them like, hey, here's all this intel. The Germans trust me. I wanna be a double agent spy for you guys. The British, super skeptical, start vetting the guy, and they see that he was the one responsible for and decide. A couple of months go by, it's like mid-1942. He's been messing with the Germans for about a year now. So he decides that he's gonna go to the British embassy in Lisbon and tell them like, hey, here's all this intel. The Germans trust me. I want to be a double agent spy for you guys. The British, super skeptical, start vetting the guy, and they see that he was the one responsible for the convoy fiasco, and they're like, holy shit, we found the guy.
I was right!
Not in the UK, he's over in Lisbon. Oh fuck. So he immediately gets hired. They give him the code name Garbo, referring to a famous actress at the time that was renowned as, they give him the...
This is to confirm our conversation of this morning when we decided that Borval should in future be known as Garbo. Dear Blith. It's crazy. Crazy.
Code name Garbo, referring to a famous actress at the time that was renowned as the best actress in the world, but they think he's the best actor in the world because he's leading the Germans on this wild goose chase. So they move him over to Britain, and he is working out of MI6 headquarters. From here, because now he has real British intel, the lies get more strategic. They get more accurate, but not in a helpful way, but the Germans don't realize that. So he's gaining more and more trust with the Germans because his quality of intel continues to go up. But then he almost gets caught being a double spy because the Germans found out that there was a massive naval convoy that just left Liverpool that Garbo didn't report on. So they go back to Garbo and they're like, hey, we know you have a spy in the area whose whole job is to look over this harbor. Why didn't you report this to us so we could do something about it? To which Garbo was like, yeah, that guy, he died actually. Yeah, no, he was in the hospital sick for a couple of weeks, and he's dead now. And then had the British take all of the, the fictional story, because the Germans knew the guy's name and his code name and his descent and all these fucking fictional details that he had created, and had the British put an obituary in the British newspaper for this fictional man, and then he sent them the obituary. To which the Germans sent their condolences and severance pay for his widow.
My God!
Could you imagine having to play poker against this guy? He's the greatest bullshitter of all time. Like, if this were a video game, he put all of his skill points in charisma, because the Germans just seem to believe every line of bullshit that comes out of his mouth. Dude literally got this close to getting caught as a double agent and somehow manages to pull out a huge sum of money and get paid for it while also still being considered a reliable source. Don't worry, it gets even better. In November of
Nick, you can't leave out the fact that he got an entire British military movement to create a lie for his lie. This is a chicken farmer, y'all. A Spanish one, man. I can't forget the Spanish. That's the AKA Spanish chicken farmer, man. The video was only 33 minutes. I was like, okay, maybe it's not that amazing. It's just a good one. Not this shit. I love con artists, y'all. I love them. I love con artists. No lie, y'all. No lie. When I was younger, I used to love burglary movies, and I wanted to grow up to be a cat burglar. I wanted to, and I actually went out in the world and started stealing things. And when I say steal, I mean strategic. I forget the whole acronym. It's not on here. No. I forget. Anyways, I would steal things just to see, ridiculous stuff. Y'all, I ain't even gonna say it. But just know I wanted to be a burglar, and that's why the lies amaze me. If y'all watch my reaction, the lies are incredible to me, because I'm like, damn, like you actually pulled that off in the world. And now the people that this man is fooling, we're talking the world war. We're talking about the war of the world. This ain't the little civil war that he was dealing with at home. No. We're talking about the actual big boy. There's nothing bigger than the world of the world. God. The world war. And he's conning that from a library. The title should have been How a Chicken Farmer Conned World War II.
And somehow manages to pull out a huge sum of money and get paid for it while also still being considered a reliable source. Don't worry, it gets even better. In November of 1942, the Allies launched Operation Torch, which was like the big advance into North Africa. Massive naval operation, huge offensive. It would be a big deal if the Germans found out and knew about this plan, right? So what they do is they don't report on it. But the Germans are gonna wonder, hey, why didn't you fucking report on this? Because we know you have spies. We can't say another guy died of illness in the hospital. What are we gonna do? So Garbo comes up with a plan. He's gonna write extremely detailed, 100% accurate, like how many ships are leaving the port, where are they going, when are they gonna get there, when's the attack, the whole 9 yards, writes it all up, has the British government post stamp it like a week before the attack so they have time to do something about it, but then just hangs on to the letter until the day the attack happens and then mails it off. So the British get 100% accurate information that would have a huge impact on the battle, but they get it too late. And from the German perspective, after they're reading this letter, they're like, holy shit, this is exactly what happened. This would have been gold if we would have gotten it on time, but this letter got delayed in the wartime mail. They were so pleased with the level of intel because the mail being slow isn't Garbo's fault, and he did a great job. So they give him a huge bonus and then give a 50% pay bump to the 20+ person spy network that doesn't even fucking exist.
I've cried like that since Titanic.
And then they're like, Alaric, Garbo, same guy, is too valuable of an asset. His intel is worth so much, we can't afford to have him being delayed in the wartime post. So they arrange for him to get German radio equipment, an up-to-date Enigma machine with up-to-date ciphers.
You are lying to me, Nick. Nick, what's the point of you coming on here lying to me? Why are you lying to me? Why? Why would you lie to me like this? I love a good con, but you ain't got to con me, man. Boy, ain't no way. Boy, ain't no way this happened. Boy, ain't no way this happened. Boy, ain't no way this happened. And oh my God. You know the actor I was telling you about who plays the German generals or whatever they're called? and I dislike him because it's like in the movies, when he's in the roles, he detects every lie. He can read every lie. He just knows when somebody's lying to him, and I don't. But the fact that he was able to pull this off, in my head, that same actor, that same general was dealing with him, and he was being conned by him. That makes me happy, y'all. That makes me feel good. It makes me feel better about the actor. It makes me feel better towards him. It makes me feel like, oh, okay, you aren't some superhuman lie detector German Nazi who oh God, who just does terrible things. You're not him. You actually got conned by a Spanish chicken farmer, bruh. Maybe I don't hate you. Maybe I don't hate you that much, bruh. Maybe.
Radio equipment, an up-to-date Enigma machine with up-to-date ciphers, and he has everything to communicate with the Germans directly.
Boyd, may I have the COS, please?
Oh, I'm so happy! I'm so happy! This is the best day of my life!
So now, every time the Germans change the Enigma code in the Enigma machine, they don't need to crack it and develop the new cipher. They literally send the new cipher to their spy that's actually working for the British. Alaric, aka Garbo, aka a fucking chicken farmer from Spain, is now the most trusted, high-value spy that the Germans have from their perspective. And because of that, the Allies have him work on the most important deception mission of World War II, Operation Fortitude. All right, Operation Fortitude. It is basically one gigantic psyop. It is the miscommunication campaign to set the stage for D-Day. Now, D-Day in that of itself is pretty controversial. The British did not want to do D-Day. It's a big, risky move, having this massive amphibious landing. It could draw out the war for years or lose the war entirely if it fails. So the British wanted to take the more conservative route of going through North Africa, taking over Italy, and then pushing into the rest of Europe. Okay, nothing wrong with that. That's a good plan. However, it's going to make the war last longer, and the longer war lasts, the more resources you have to use, the more people are going to die, and most importantly, America's got to wrap this shit up because we've got another war scheduled with Korea in like 7 years, so we gotta get this ball rolling. Okay, on top of that, the Soviets are getting absolutely massacred on the Eastern Front, and if the Germans take over there, they're gonna have access to all the Soviet resources, and the Germans are gonna get even stronger, or potentially even worse, if somehow the Soviets pull it out of their ass and they win and they invade, they're gonna take over all of Europe, and I don't fucking like the communists either, so we're not gonna have either of those options. We gotta get in there, fuck shit up, and leave. Okay, General Eisenhower's the Supreme Allied Commander. He's the one running the show, and he's an American, and America says we're doing D-Day. Guess what? We're doing D-Day. Now, obviously, I'm paraphrasing to a disgusting degree, but this is more or less how the conversation goes. Fuck, fine, we'll do the D-Day massive amphibious landing thing. Where do you want to do it? The most obvious place is going to be Calais. It's right across the Strait of Dover. That's named after a guy named Ben, right? What? Nothing, sorry, please continue. Okay, the upside of Calais is it's got a harbor. We can land a bunch of troops there. It'd be a good access point. The problem is the Germans have fortified the ever-living fuck out of it and have a ton of soldiers there because it's the most obvious place that we're gonna invade. Right. All right, so we won't go there. What else you got? Well, there's Schoenberg, but it's pretty much the same thing. It's the next obvious place, so the Germans have fortified it. All right, what else you got? Well, I guess the Germans probably wouldn't be expecting Normandy, but there's no harbor and it's covered in cliffs. That's perfect. We're storming the beaches of Normandy. I mean, okay, what about the cliffs? No problem. We'll teach all the boys how to rock climb. We'll have boats that shoot rocket-propelled grappling hooks up the cliff, and then we'll have boats with giant firemen's ladders that go up with machine guns on top and mow down the enemy while the boys are rock climbing. Okay, well, there's a lot of like rivers and ravines and creeks and stuff in that area. What if the Germans blow up the bridges and then our tanks get caught up in these little ravines and they can't cross? We'll build bridges, we'll strap them to tanks, and we'll bring the bridges with us. Okay, humor me. Let's just assume all of that works. What about the lack of a harbor? Don't worry about that. We'll make one back home in America and bring it with us. I'm sorry, I think you misheard what I said. I said harbor, you know, like the terrain feature. Yeah, motherfucker, did I stutter? We'll build one and bring it with us. I'm sorry, just so we're on the same page. You're gonna build a terrain feature in America and bring it with you to the invasion. Yes, it's not that complicated. We're gonna call it a Mulberry Harbor. It's gonna work great. Okay, if you think that's impressive, we're building a portable star to give to Japan later. Just trust me, we're gonna figure it out. Okay, I guess, what do you need from us? Well, you and the boys over at MI6 got the best spy network in the world. I need you to convince the Germans that we are in fact going to attack exactly where they think we're gonna attack, over in Calais, to take a bunch of pressure off of Normandy so we have time to get in
tell me if I'm reading this wrong. When it was just him at the library and he was doing what he was doing, the lies were easy. When he finally joined the British, the lies got more realistic. And because they got more realistic, the Germans' trust grew more, which led to him now. This is what I'm trying to say. The distance and the mailing of the letters was almost a crutch that they could lean on with the lies, because you could just blame so much on that. You could blame it on the letters getting lost. You could blame it on the letters being late. You could blame but the fact that they got the cryptic machine in, now the lies just have to be accurate in some shape, form, or fashion. Whereas prior to, they didn't have to be as accurate. You see what I'm saying? It's crazy that when he finally joined, the lies just had to be apparently real at this time. Like, the lies turned into the truth. You know what I'm saying? Just with a little curve on it. It's crazy. The con became reality, but it's still a con. This is an enigma. This is amazing, y'all. If y'all don't think this is amazing, y'all tripping, bro.
They think we're going to attack over in Calais to take a bunch of pressure off of Normandy so we have time to get in there and invade. Okay, I mean, we can fake radio traffic and give them false intel, but they're going to have aerial reconnaissance in the area, and they're going to see that we're not building up a massive army to invade, and they're going to know that we're lying. Okay, so we'll put a massive army there. Yeah, problem, we only have one massive army, so if we put it right across the Strait of Dover from Ben Dover, I get your joke now. Ha! Yeah, anyways, if we put the
Oh, you know what? When he introduced the joke earlier, I was like, oh, okay, that was all right, little dad joke. I get it. But the way he made the Brits understand the joke, the way he is acting as the British who just now caught the joke, it just made the joke 10 times better, Nick. I appreciate the level of execution in your jokes that you deliver to us. I appreciate that, Nick. Ben Dover, I get your joke now. Ha! Yeah, anyways, if we put the massive army right across the Strait of Calais, how on earth are we going to put the massive army where we need it over in Normandy to actually invade? We're going to fake it, obviously. Okay, here's the deal. I've got like 1,100 artsy-fartsy theater kid art majors that I don't really know what to do with. We're going to put them in charge of this, and they're going to build a fake ghost army that's going to imitate a massive invasion force. So I need you guys to start building fake wooden planes and fake wooden landing ships. I'm going to call the people that make the Macy's Day Parade floats, and I'm going to have them make us like 1,000 inflatable tanks, a bunch of inflatable trucks, and a bunch of inflatable artillery pieces, and we'll start staging up for a massive invasion. And that's pretty much what happened. America sets about creating a ghost army that's ran by 1,100 art majors known as the 23rd Headquarters Special Troops, and they are sent over right across the Strait of Dover to set up this massive fake army. They start setting everything up and staging it so aerial reconnaissance sees it, and while that's going on, Garbo... Nah, bruh, seeing it in real... Nah, bruh. Like literal inflatable, like in the literality of it all, in the literals of it all, that is exactly what he was saying. There's no conning in the title. Do you see them just bouncing around that tank? That tank artillery is just bouncing it around.
They start setting everything up and staging it so aerial reconnaissance sees it, and while that's going on, Garbo and the rest of the MI6 spy network is sending fake intel to the German high command being like, hey, we just had 15,000 new troops come in. We just had a bunch of tanks come in. They're setting up. They're gonna invade Calais. They brought in more troops. Oh, now there's even more. They've got 150,000 men ready to invade Calais. And then somebody got a really good idea to sell this to the Germans. You see, a couple of months prior in 1943, Patton got in a ton of trouble and got basically yanked out of World War II because he was in an aid station and there was a couple of soldiers with shell shock, basically severe crippling PTSD. And hard-ass General Patton was under the impression that these guys were faking it so they didn't have to go off and fight in the war, so he decided to beat a couple of them up. It really pissed off the American people. Eisenhower was furious, so he ends up getting yanked out of World War II. But the Germans never actually believed that America was going to pull their best fighting general out of World War II because he roughed up a couple of privates. So they've been thinking the entire time that Patton is off somewhere on some covert mission building up an invasion force getting ready to attack. So they bring Patton in as bait. They start calling this massive fake army FUSAG, or First Army Group, and they've got Patton parading around getting his picture taken. He's in newspapers. The Germans are obviously monitoring that. Then they've got Garbo, their most trusted spy, relaying the info that Patton's here. He's the one leading this massive army, and the Germans buy it hook, line, and sinker.
This is just too easy.
So
shout out to Patton. Shout out to all the vets. Shout out to all the soldiers like Pat who was put out. And he said, I don't care how I got to get back in. I don't care if they want to use me as bait. That's what I'm built for. What you think this is? You telling me I get to participate in conning the Germans? Conning them? Like running a real con. Yeah, let's do this. Let's do this.
Army, and the Germans buy it.
White pearl pistol grip on his hip. You see it? Hold on.
Relaying the info that Patton's here. He's the one leading. Patton parading around getting his
You see the grip? Come on.
picture taken. He's in newspapers. The Germans are obviously monitoring that. Then they've got Garbo, their most trusted spy, relaying the info that Patton's here. He's the one leading this massive army, and the Germans buy it hook, line, and sinker.
This is just too easy.
So the Germans are like, if America's sending their best general to attack Calais, we're gonna send our best general. They send Erwin Rommel up there with like 150 to 200,000 soldiers. 19 infantry divisions and 2 armored divisions are all now in Calais waiting for Patton to come. This is it. This is gonna be the epic showdown between General Patton and Erwin Rommel, the 2 most well-known generals of World War II.
What?
Except it's not. Because it's all bullshit.
Antonio Banderas. D-Day.
Okay, in the days leading up to D-Day, Garbo and MI6 really set the stage. They tell them, like the day before D-Day, that a bunch of more troops just showed up, and it's gonna be 2 weeks at the earliest that America's gonna launch this attack. So if there's anything that happens before then, it's obviously gonna be a diversion to try to get you to take some of your troops out of Calais to soften up the target for Patton. Because of this, Erwin Rommel, on June 5th, aka the day before D-Day, is like, sweet, I've got some time to kill. Tomorrow, June 6th, again, D-Day, is my wife's birthday, so I'm gonna go back home to Germany so I can play hide the bratwurst and celebrate. So Erwin Rommel leaves. D-Day happens, he's in Germany. He's not even in France. So while the birthday girl's laying on the bed pretending her feet hate each other, 156,000 Allied troops hit the beaches of Normandy. And because the Germans are convinced that America's gonna attack at Calais, there's only like 20 to 25,000 Germans defending the beaches of Normandy. So the plan is working. Rommel hears that there's an invasion that gets launched. He makes a beeline back to his headquarters right outside of Paris, France. He doesn't actually get there until June 7th, D-Day +1. He immediately does the worst thing possible for the Allied forces. He sends 40,000 infantry troops and an entire armored division from Calais down to Normandy. Okay, this is gonna be absolutely catastrophic to D-Day. That's gonna triple the amount of Germans guarding the beach and add a fuck ton of tanks on top of that. The absolute best case scenario is this adds tens of thousands of Allied forces dying, and the worst case scenario, it means that D-Day is gonna fail as a whole. And it's more than likely gonna be the second one, because if Rommel rolls up with a bunch of tanks, he is gonna drive the American forces back into the ocean, and it is gonna be Dunkirk 2.0 all over again. And then, a chicken farmer from Spain saves the day. Garbo, Alaric, the most trusted German spy, sends a transmission to German high command that the attack at Normandy is a feint, it's a ruse, it's just a distraction, do not pull your men out of Calais. And this makes it all the way into German high command and all the way to Hitler himself. And Hitler signs off on the order for Rommel to turn his forces around and go back to Calais and wait for Patton. Literally creating the timeline we live in.
So you telling me this man went from lying, trying to not get involved in this nonsense, to them taking his stuff, arresting his family. Then he lies to actually join, but he wanted to join the ops. Ops didn't believe him. He lies to join the ops. In that mix, he realizes that he wants to destroy the ops. He comes back. He go British. And now he's helping the British destroy the ops with intel that actually gets to Hitler in his hands. The man picks up a pen and scripts his name to approve the lie against him. Yeah, this story is wild. I may have messed up a little in the beginning. This story is crazy, y'all. This story is absolutely incredible that it actually happened. And now Hitler's actually signing papers to credit a lie. It ain't even a lie, actually. It's not a lie. It's an instruction. Hitler's taking instructions from a con artist. How, I'm going to say, how is there no movie for this? How is there no movie for this? There cannot be a movie for this. This is too good. There's no movie for this. Movie is unbelievable in every shape, form, or fashion. It's unbelievable coming out of Nick's mouth.
Hitler himself, and Hitler signs off on the order for Rommel to turn his forces around and go back to Calais and wait for Patton. Literally creating the timeline we live in today where D-Day was a success, and the cherry on top, Hitler then signs off on an order to award Garbo, Alaric, the Iron Cross, which is literally the Nazi equivalent of the Medal of Honor.
How do you have these?
Oh, we actually got a lot of those. Yeah, some of the guys use them as paperweights.
Garbo has Hitler so convinced that this attack is coming at Calais that Rommel leaves his forces there for 6 weeks. And by then, it's too late. So the invasion of Normandy works because of Garbo and the Ghost Army, and then after that, the Ghost Army gets deployed into France. And from here, they go full PSYOP mode. They would roll up to wherever a real infantry division was. They would then paint that infantry division's logo on all of their inflatable shit and then have their same patches. And then while that unit moved out, they would pretend to still be that unit in the same spot so the Germans don't know where an entire division disappeared to because they still think it's right there. And the level they went to make it look like they were legitimately the unit they had replaced was incredible. The Ghost Army had their own Morse code guys, and they were going to be blasting out fake radio transmissions, fake Morse code, fake everything, in addition to all the inflatables and just appearing like a real military unit. And with Morse code, you can tell who the operator is. The way that your hand strikes the little keypad is very much like handwriting or your spoken voice. You can identify different people and different operators. So these Ghost Army Morse code operators would go and sit with the real infantry division's Morse code operators and learn their exact handwriting, so to speak, so that they could mimic it perfectly. They had trucks with gigantic loudspeakers that would blast noises of tanks moving, trucks moving, NCOs yelling at soldiers to put that cigarette out, all kinds of shit to make—
This is the coolest shit ever. You telling me I'm in college, they tapped me on the shoulder one day, hey bro, you want to come help the war effort? In what way, sir? We're going to pull a con. We're going to life-size inflatable tanks. We need your art skills because we need y'all to create stencils and draw logos and do this and do that. And, you know, they're thespians too, from what Nick just, they're thespians as well. They're actors and actresses. I'm sorry, y'all. This is. Hey, you want to come help us? And you just like, are you serious? And it's how many of us that's about to do this? And then they actually go. There's no way these kids didn't know that they were doing this in the war territory, in the land where bombs and bullets is being exchanged. They did that knowing that, and it worked. Like, they have nothing to protect themselves, y'all. They have nothing. The people who can protect them are actually on the way to actually war. So they're gone. There's no tanks. There's no bullet. There's nothing there. It's just you and an inflatable tank, inflatable guns, and loudspeakers. Nah, man. Now that's what you go to school for. To be a part of real history.
NCOs yelling at soldiers to put that cigarette out, all kinds of shit to make it look like a real military unit was there. They took a bunch of theater majors, actors, and they would send them out into the nearby towns with the patches of whatever unit they were imitating, and they would go into bars and get drunk and have conversations dropping fake intel about where they're going next and what they're doing next so that German spies would hear about it and relay false information. Every major step the US military had to make, the Ghost Army was there drawing enemy fire the entire time. When Patton finally did return to theater in Operation Cobra, the Ghost Army was there. When US forces crossed the Siegfried Line, the Ghost Army was there drawing enemy fire and German attention so that they could actually cross at the real location. When Allied forces crossed the Rhine River, the Ghost Army was there pretending to build a bridge 10 miles away from where the real Allied forces were crossing. I keep calling them theater kids and art majors like it's an insult. It's not. These guys have the biggest balls on the planet.
Exactly.
You know what sucks more than going into combat in a tank and having the Germans try to kill you? Going into combat, having the Germans try to kill you like you are a tank, and you've got a fucking inflatable tank. The Ghost Army is—
I know I'm not tripping. I know I ain't tripping. I know I ain't tripping, bro. I know I'm not the only person viewing this like this before it's even told.
Try to kill you like you are a tank, and you've got a fucking inflatable tank. The Ghost Army is basically the rodeo clowns for the entire US military at this point. The bull rider gets all the glory, but the rodeo clowns are in the ring the entire time saving everybody's ass.
Thank you!
And to make things worse, this is top secret. They can't tell anybody that's not already in the know, so they have to keep the entire thing under wraps, which means they're constantly running into high-ranking officers from the US military that are asking questions, getting mad at them because they don't think they're supposed to be doing what they're doing, and it just causes a whole mess of issues. My favorite story is the Ghost Army was out on a convoy moving to another location, and some general comes up all pissed off because this unit isn't supposed to be in his AO, and he wants to know what the fuck they're up to. And these guys aren't allowed to tell the general what they're doing, so they fucking lie, and they come up with the best lie ever. They literally tell the general, we're just going around making sure all the street signs are the same size. To which the general is like, why the fuck are you doing that? And they're like, I don't know, man. We just got the orders by our chain of command. They told us to go around and make sure all the street signs are dress right dress so nobody gets lost, which sounds dumb as fuck, but if you were ever in the military, that is the most military thing that would happen, and it 100% would. Okay, if you're not picking up what I'm putting down, I'm trying to tell you that the 23rd Headquarters Special Troops, the Ghost Army, had a tremendous impact on World War II, not just on D-Day, but in the entire European theater. So World War II comes to an end. The Ghost Army is essentially sworn to secrecy. Nobody knows that this even happened until the 1990s. The British find out that Garbo got awarded the Iron Cross, so they're like, oh shit, we should probably give this guy an award too. So they give him the Order of the British Empire, which is the highest ranking award they can possibly give him. Homie literally got MVP playing for both teams. And the Nazis never even found out that he was a double agent. The British then give him a big lump sum of money as a thank you, and then he's kind of worried that Nazi sympathizers are going to track him down and kill him if they find out that he was the double agent that quite literally preemptively end World War II, if not is responsible for winning the entire thing. So in 1949, he fakes his own death and disappears. From here, everybody thinks he's dead for decades, and then 25 years later, a historian hears that he might be alive somewhere in South America and ends up tracking him down, and he's a teacher that owns a bookstore in Venezuela. So the British bring him back over for the 40th anniversary of D-Day. He gets publicly recognized. He's a hero. He finally gets his moment in the sunshine. He gets to go to Normandy and see.
Wait a minute, you telling me that in real life, that man made himself a ghost and disappeared for 25 years? And, oh my God, this is so good. Oh is so good, y'all. I'm sorry. Y'all, I really, really, really love a great con story. I am dead ass serious when I say that. Especially when I do not like when I hear. To me, scamming and conning are different. I'm not with the scamming. To me, scamming, all I hear is somebody scamming their neighborhood, their people, old people. I don't like that. Conning is something different. Conning to me is attacking the hierarchy. That's how I view conning. Like Catch Me If You Can. He was stealing from banks. He was stealing from people that the general public don't really care for because they just be playing with us too much. This man's conning the Germans. That's God tier conning. And he got away. And then you telling me the man disappeared from the British and the Germans. 25 years. My boy in South America teaching children and owns a bookstore. Are you kidding me? The man said, I'm gonna make the con a permanent part of my life. The con started in the library. Damn it, I'm gonna make sure I build a library to remind me every day what I did with a damn library. That man took down the German with a damn library. Man, stop playing, man. This is, bruh.
Recognized he's a hero. He finally gets his moment in the sunshine. He gets to go to Normandy and see where all of the battles unfolded. And then, while overlooking one of the cemeteries at Normandy, he said, and I quote, "I knew I saved tens of thousands of lives, but I don't think I did enough."
Oh.
And that is a story of how a chicken farmer from Barcelona and a bunch of theater kids with inflatable tanks helped win World War II. Thank you for watching. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch over at thefatelectrician.com. Quack bang, out.
Oh.
I've said it once and I will say it again. Don't piss off the farmers. They're dangerous.
I can't. Oh, forget it.
Oh, one more thing. I actually got the video for this idea when I went to the Spy Museum in Washington, D.C. with Ethan, Mr. Habitual Line Crosser here on YouTube. They actually had one of these inflatable tanks there in an exhibit. Me and Ethan actually have an exclusive show over on Pepperbox called Habitually Fat, where that's all we do is go to different museums all across the country and get guided tours. And that's just one of my exclusive shows there. I also have a show with PewView where me and him shoot a bunch of guns that we're not normally allowed to shoot on YouTube. I have a talk show with Angry Cops, Eli Double Tap, and Habitual Line Crosser called Kinda Consensual. You can even see all of us try to box each other on there. And the best part about it is I'm part owner of the entire streaming service, me and a bunch of other YouTubers, so there's no censorship, there's no ads, there's just one monthly subscription fee, and you can get a 2-week free trial if you wanted to go check it out.
I need a spot on that roster, Nick. Come on, bruh. Ain't nobody fucking with you like me, man. Come on, man. I need a spot on that roster, man. Pull me in. Let me tell y'all something, bro. Nick done told and taught me a lot of things so far. Again, I haven't even been doing this channel a year, y'all. And I got to thank y'all for even... I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes I just be like, I can't believe y'all watch me. What y'all... what? Like, what? Y'all watch me? It's unbelievable. Like, it really is. And I really have to thank y'all for that. Niggas taught me a lot. And I thought that I heard the best story I've ever heard from Nick already. I thought I heard it a couple times. I really did. This story, and I know to y'all this not the best, this may not be the best story. To me, as of today, this is the best story that Nick has ever told me. This is the best lesson I've ever received from Nick personally because, again, obsessed with cons. I love it when somebody can actually pull off a con that hurts the hierarchy that fucks with us every day. I love that. I love when casinos get robbed. I love when banks get robbed. I love when airlines I love when governments, because they do that to us all day. I love when insurance, especially insurance companies. Oh God. I don't know if I should be saying this, but I love it. This is my favorite stories so far. Come on, y'all. Flood the comments. Be like, Nolo, you tripping. Trust me, you haven't even seen this. You know, y'all love to say, wait till he sees the such and such, or wait till he hears about the such and such. Nobody told me to hear about this, even though I think it's fairly new. But y'all ain't tell me. Let me tell you, man. When you step back and you just break it down into simple terms, like I like to do every story, this basic breakdown of this will make anybody jaw drop and say, bro, you lying. You gotta be lying to me. You're telling tall tales and you're only 5'2", sir. Why would you tell tall tales? The math doesn't math. And then I just have to tell you, you gotta believe me. You gotta believe me. Nick taught me this. You gotta believe it. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. I am out, y'all. Peace.